Alright, so this is something that I've struggled with, and I still do, and I'm sure some of you will be able to relate to it. So I've understood one thing, that when you are struggling with something, the first step to reach to a solution of that problem is first to define the problem, which I was not being able to do it, which I was not being able to do, and now I've come to a point where I think what the problem is. The problem is how to balance between knowledge or learning and putting that knowledge into action. These two things, learning and action. How do you balance that? Because there are two sides to this problem. The first one is, I've seen it in myself that when I try to learn about something and I try to learn about it for a while, and then I realize that there are a lot more things to learn about that topic. So it kind of makes me in a position where I am afraid of putting that knowledge that I have acquired so far into some sort of action, or sharing that knowledge with someone else, because I feel like that my knowledge is not fulfilled yet, so I'll not be able to deliver the perfect knowledge through my action that I have been working on so far. This is a problem because this fear keeps us from putting that knowledge into action. And any knowledge which is not transformed into some form of action that brings value in the real world is ultimately meaningless. And the other side of the problem is, sometimes what I do is I put some form of action without having enough knowledge about it, because I remind myself of the fact that taking action is the final thing. Taking action is the thing that gets you result. So I sometimes force myself to take the action without having much knowledge about behind that action. So this is also a problem, because an action without proper knowledge to back up can be problematic. So this is a dilemma that I have in my mind for a long time, and now I think I have come to sort of a solution to this problem, and that is practice. There is no other solution to this. The more you practice to balance between learning and putting that knowledge into action, the better you will be at balancing out these two. Sometimes the knowledge will be better, and you'll find yourself in a position where you have not put that knowledge into some form of action, and sometimes the action will be more, where you'll find yourself that your action is not backed up by sufficient knowledge. So the more you practice these two things, the better you will be at balancing out these two. This is something that I've realized, and I'll give you an example. Like for example, English, the language that I'm using right now, is not my first language, but I still am making videos in this language so that I can utilize that knowledge of my English language into some form of action. My English may be wrong, but the thing is, I have to put it in some form of action, otherwise the knowledge of my language is useless, basically. So this is what I'm trying to understand about, and I hope you relate to what I said, and I'm sure there will be some knowledge, some skills, some things that you've been learning for a while, and you are afraid to put that knowledge into some form of action. But I encourage you to go out there and put that knowledge into some form of action, even if it is wrong, even if it is teaching it to only one person. Do it, because otherwise it's not fruitful, the knowledge is not fruitful. And one other thing is, when I have seen it myself, that when I watch YouTube videos, I keep on watching, thinking in my mind that I am learning, but that is actually ultimately waste of time, because with so much knowledge, what will we do if we don't put that knowledge into some form of action that is relevant in our life? So that is also a problem. Um, so yeah, this is it. I hope it makes sense, and see you.